All right, we are live, and it's warning me. Hangouts on air is going away August 1st. For quick streaming, use youtube.com/webcam.
Oh man,
As if I'm not sure that's exactly going to replace Hangouts, but we'll see.
Hey, don't disparage Google; they'll kick you off.
True. So we have till August 1st. I guess we should do what everyone else is doing and just buy Zoom or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm already paying for it. We could just switch.
Yeah, but then we have to like upload the Well, and can we do it live, like for other people to?
Yeah, I have the webinar add-on, so we could just do it live.
Okay, yeah.
We just put a link on the website that says here's how you join.
Does it let you have like a feed so we could live stream it to YouTube Live or?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, shit, they got it all figured out.
So we could just do that, and then we wouldn't even have to give people participant access unless they're particular people we want.
Yeah.
To comment on it while we go. But yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah. Yes. So before the call, I did mention that I fell off a roof last week.
Oh,
messed up my arm.
Man.
What's funny is that it was my elbow for like 4 days, and now it's my wrist that hurts. So I'm going back to the doctor. They're going to do another X-ray today, but I'm still running that 5K tomorrow. I don't care.
Oh, yeah, you've got it's tomorrow, your 5K?
It's tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Chuck's going to be like, ow, ow,
yeah.
ow, ow,
well,
with every step.
I went and walked and ran 2.7 miles today.
Yeah.
And it's not really that painful to run at all. It's just, yeah, I get back home and I think stuff starts swelling again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I can empathize with you. I did my dopey challenge this year with broken ribs, so that was not fun. That did hurt to run. That was painful.
Yeah, that was actually why we went to the clinic and got it was funny because I got done with Entre Programmers last Friday. Got in my truck, went and picked up shingles from my father-in-law's house, drove over there, helped him get them onto the roof, and then they were like, "Okay, Chuck, you and Bryce are going to do the roof. Ike's going to have the kids clean the yard." And I'm like, "All right, well, I've had to pee since I got into the canyon, which is like it was like 2.5 hours by that point. I'm like, I'm going to go use the bathroom and then I'll come back up." So I got on the ladder and the ladder slid out from under me. So literally, I talked to you guys, and 3 hours later, I was gasping for breath on my father-in-law's patio. And I thought we thought that I had broken a rib, but I got X-rayed, and it turned out that wasn't the case. It just hurt like I had broken a rib.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So
well, glad you're okay.
Yeah. So hopefully they'll X-ray it, and they'll be like, "Yeah, take it easy," or whatever. But unless I specifically get a directive from the doctor that says you cannot run a 5K tomorrow, I'm running a freaking 5K tomorrow. So.
Yeah.
Well, don't specifically ask him.
Yeah. I'm kind of tempted, and then what? And then my wife will ask, "So did they say you could run the 5K?" And I'll be, "Well, they didn't say I couldn't."
Yeah, I wouldn't.
That constitutes permission. There we go. Besides, what the fuck do doctors know anyway? I've never gone to a doctor and had them actually cure anything or do anything. It's always been time. Time has been my greatest healer.
Well, it's funny. Like I've taken my kids to the doctor when they've broken an arm or something. It's like, yeah, they can read an X-ray, but so freaking can I, right? That's broken.
It's like when there's
we're gonna
like
put
a
something
black
hard
line and jagged spikes. Okay.
Yeah, that's a crack. That shouldn't be there. And so then what do? Well, the most obvious thing, we're going to put something hard against it so it doesn't shift until it's healed. Okay, great. That's the only thing that I've ever had a doctor get right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. They can order labs and they can prescribe medicine, and that's about all they're good for.
Pretty much.
Anyway,
as we lose all the doctor subscribers from our all those doctors that are watching
Entre PhDs or Entre.
Yeah. Well, I love the ones too.
Some doctors like just spit his coffee. Is like, what stuff? These guys are assholes.
Well, I've talked to a number of people too that have cured their diabetes through like eating keto and working out. I have yet to go to a doctor that believes that I can get off all my meds.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, I know people who have, and they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, right. And I'm just like, okay, bye-bye. Because I want somebody who believes that they can fix it.
I think some part of it though is like, so there's even some like fasting for instance, right, is going to cure a lot of problems, and it's also the best way to lose weight, right? But
Yeah,
a lot of it is compliance, right? So
Yeah.
even though
that is
like
true.
some doctors know that, yeah, if you eat keto or if you fast, you can reverse diabetes, but they also know that 98% of people will not do it. They will not comply.
Mhm.
So then they prescribe
Yeah.
medication, which I
And they-
disagree. I think it's better to like
Well,
like
they don't want to
encourage
tick people off
Yeah.
because they want them to keep coming back, and so
And they don't want to be liable. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And what I want is I want a doctor that's going to look at me and say, "Look, if you do
Yeah.
all these things, you'll be cured. But if you don't do them, or if you don't do them correctly, it's not going to work."
Yeah. What you could probably find is more of a natural medicine, like holistic doctor that's actually got that's actual doctor, not just a naturopath or whatever, but also has that, that background as well, because then they're going to be more open to like, they're going to understand traditional medicine, but they're also going to understand these other things and be more open to that. So
Yeah. I think the liability thing's huge. Like a lot of it is just if someone dies or, and they're giving standard of care treatment, they feel safe, because
you can't be sued for malpractice.
Yeah,
generally, if you do that.
But,
so that's why they give you statins and insulin.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh man, don't get me started.
Yeah. But yeah, it'll
Anyway.
be interesting to see how you do on your 5K tomorrow, because that will basically tell you what your pacing will be and what you can kind of project for your marathon time. So
yeah, the one thing though that I did realize, like over the last, because I ran yesterday and today, I just did some 45-minute runs.
Yeah.
Or walk 4 minutes, run 1 minute, or no, run 4 minutes, walk 1 minute. Sorry, but it's harder to run, and I don't know why. I don't know if like my system is just sapped of energy because of this or whatever. But man, it's been a lot harder to just get it going and keep it going.
Yeah, sometimes an injury will cause that, just because it drains like resources that you don't realize, like especially if there's like internal bruising and whatnot, like it's going to require.
I think that's why it hurts.
Yes, so that will require some energy from the body that and then
your
you
body might also be trying to protect itself. Like when you're injured, there's certain things your body just won't allow you to do. Like it'll shut itself down early to try to avoid injury.
Yeah, you may also just be reaching the point in your training too where things get harder, where it's like you'll go through phases where you'll be like, oh crap, like I'm it's getting harder and harder, and then you'll break through and then it'll be easier and easier. But then like as the fatigue builds up in your system over time, it takes about 10 days for a workout to actually like basically benefit your fitness. So in that period of time, that 10-day period, you're basically suffering from the fatigue of it without the benefit of the fitness level increase. Mm-hmm. So as you keep on running, you end up accumulating a large amount of fatigue over time, but eventually your fitness level rises where a good training program, so that your fitness is high enough so that you can handle that fatigue. Think of it like, I always think of fatigue as like your hit point bar, right? You've got like a fatigue bar, and like you run and do runs and it like takes chunks out of the fatigue bar, and then over time that fatigue bar grows and you can take more chunks out of it, right? And so if you're training properly, then what's happening is you're increasing your training, and at some point you get close to having nothing left in your fatigue bar, but that eventually causes it to grow. And then that same amount of training or just a little bit more, you have a higher capacity to handle it. So that's what will eventually happen, is you just go through these dips where you're going to feel like shit. And then like 2 weeks later, you'll be like, oh man, I just feel so good.
Yeah. Well, I have another 5K that I signed up for at the end of July. I actually
Okay.
signed up for that one a while ago because my mom wanted to do it.
Yep.
And so I signed up for it, and then I called her up and I said, "Are you registered?" And she's like, "No." And I said, "Well, you said you wanted to do it, so I registered. So now you have to do it." And so she signed up. So I figure if things don't really go well today, I have another shot in a month. So
Yeah.
and I'm just killing it. I started 75 hard, even though I wasn't completely healed too. So
Oh yeah.
that's been kicking my butt. But I can't go to the gym or anything because I can't lift anything with my left arm. So because it hurts too much.
I was tempted to do, I saw a bunch of people posting on that. I was tempted to do that, but I'm gonna stick with, I'm not gonna put too much on my already the training is enough. I've got 7 miles tomorrow at pace, at marathon pace. So like be like 850 minute mile for 7 miles. That one's gonna be tough.
Nice. But yeah, anyway, and I feel like I monopolized last time, so why don't one of you guys talk about what you got going on? Because I did make progress this week, but I'm curious to see where you guys are at.
Well, the big thing for me this week was I actually did 10 Pomodoro on Tuesday, 10 Pomodoro on Wednesday, 10 Pomodoro yesterday, and I'm going to do 10 today. And the secret to it is right here. I haven't opened this thing yet.
Your phone?
Yes. And so what I did was I made these rules for myself, right? Again, like, and I basically have been waking up early, but then the big crux of it is that I'm basically not doing anything. I'm not checking email. I'm not answering emails. I'm not checking social media. I'm not looking on YouTube, anything until I get 10 Pomodoro done for the day. And so that, like, basically what it forces me to do is there's nothing else I can do. Is just, and then what I'm doing is on my 5-minute breaks, I'm not browsing the web or like watching YouTube videos or anything like that. I'm reading. I've got a book next to me and I'm just reading. So as soon as that 5 minutes, which is a welcome break, it's still you want to read. And because what I found was that when I was doing it before, like those 5-minute breaks, I'd like watch some video or I'd read some article, and then my 5-minute break would get extended to like a 20-minute break because I'm into what I'm doing. But if I'm reading and I'm like, okay, I get to read for 5 minutes, put the bookmark, and then start again, then I just get it done efficiently, and I just fly through all the Pomodoros, and that's it. So yeah, so that's been good, and then this created that momentum. So I'm making a lot of progress now. I'm almost done reviewing the chapters for the second edition of Soft Skills. Like I'm at chapter 58 out of 73. So that I'm wanting to get that off my plate. But once I get that done, then I'll be able to have a lot more time back to focus on the other stuff. So
there's Manny.
Yeah, I hear that. I've been taking things off my plate and just showing other people what I want and then having them do it. So
yeah. But yeah, that's been the big thing for me, is just getting the Pomodoros done every single day. And like I said, just at first I was like, oh, well, I should probably like check my email, in the morning. But then I said, no, I'm just going to make it just this very strict rule that until I get the 10 Pomodoro done, I'm not checking anything, no social media, no email, nothing. Because I thought about it. I was like, when I go on a trip or something, right? Like usually for 3 or 4 days, I'm not checking email in the morning.
Yeah.
So, and I'm surviving. I don't even check email sometimes for like a couple of days, or briefly check it. I'm not replying to emails. So if I can do that when I'm on a trip, then certainly, like, if something is super urgent, there's very few things that need to be answered or seen within a 24-hour time period, like less than 24-hour time period.
Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, that's just it's been huge and then the momentum, like once you're getting like 10 Pomodoro done and you're getting it done early in the day, you feel good about it. So you're ready. Like what I found was I'm excited to start the next day, to wake up and start going again. Whereas, if I have a shitty day and I'm not getting stuff done, I'm dreading, starting work again. So.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that, you mentioned you're not doing email, you're doing other things. And I think that's the crux of a lot of what I'm finding is that if I'm working on the stuff that really makes a difference, the stuff that I know is going to move the ball forward, that's the stuff that matters. And so, you're getting that stuff done. And so it kind of compounds on itself that way.
I also found too, it's kind of interesting. Like we talked about this before when we talked about productivity, but like the interval at which you need data, like that's the minimum interval that you should get data, right? Because you can consume data on a constant feed and it's just a waste, right? So for instance, the cadence for email for me is once a day. That I only need to look at email and answer email once a day, right? It's if I had a different kind of job where there was support tickets coming in, I had to then it might be a different cadence. But I found for social media, right? It's like because I'm doing stuff on Instagram, trying to grow Instagram, and obviously YouTube, and so I got to look at DMs and comments and stuff on social media, but. So what I was doing before is I was checking it a lot, like 5, 6, probably honestly 30 times a day, right? Yeah. And then and email and all that stuff. And then what I found was that what I started doing now, this week, was I would do the 10 Pomodoros and then it'd be time to go to the gym, for instance. So I'm walking to the gym, then I pull out my phone while I'm walking to the gym, and in the time it takes me the 15 minutes to walk to the gym, I've checked all my social media. I've answered everything that I need to answer, and it's all for that whole 24-hour period. So it all gets accomplished in a 15-minute time frame where I'm walking anyway, as opposed to before when I was checking it constantly. Then it would be I probably was spending several hours a day, getting that data. So it's so I've been thinking more about just the idea of focusing on when do you need the data. How the less interval possible is better, because having more data just wastes more time, right? It doesn't, I was just amazed at how I could get through all of that stuff. Whereas in my mind before, when I was checking it multiple times per day, there was always some new thing coming in. But if you look at it all at once, you can process all that data at one time, and then what do you really need that data for? It's only useful if you're going to take some kind of action on it. So
yeah, that's true. So cool. So you're almost done with is it soft skills that you're rewriting?
Yeah, the second edition for that. There's a lot. It's some revisions and then editing and creating a few new chapters to it, and then removing a few chapters, so kind of just cleaning up the whole thing. And then the second edition of soft skills will have a Kindle version of the book. So I'll have to record the audio as well, but I want to do...
Oh yeah, you're going to re-record the audio version?
Yeah, I pretty much have to, because any changes I made to the text...
Yeah, the audio quality will probably be a little better this time around.
yeah, it'll be better. And it'll be new, because I don't know, when I go off on a tangent on the, add the extra commentary, it'll be new stuff because I'm not going to duplicate the same stuff I did last time. So it'll be another selling point. So, and I think what I was just talking with the marketing person at Manning, and what I want to do is do the hard copy book, the print book first, and do the main launch on that, and try to direct everyone to buy that one to get the ranking up in Amazon as much as possible.
Right.
And then about a month later, release the Kindle version, which should piggyback off of the ranking off of the print version, right? Because now it'll be getting exposure, and then I can do another launch and it'll push that up, and then a month later do the audio version. So it'll be kind of 3 pushes, but the big thing is to try this, because we debated this, Josh, or we've been talking about this, the idea of because when we did Complete Software Developer Career Guide, because we launched the print and the Kindle at the same time, we probably diluted the ranking. We could have possibly, it's not quite a doubling effect, but I think maybe we took 25% of the steam off of if we had just done one version of the book.
Yeah. I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and launch the Find Your Developer Dream Job.
Mhm.
and I found a guy that's going to basically set all that stuff up for me. He's done this for a number of other people and got them to be quote unquote Amazon bestsellers, which I guess is an actual term for Amazon. So what he's doing, I'm happy to kind of share some of the things that he does for you there, but he's done this for a bunch of other people that I know and trust. And so I'm kind of curious to see where it all gets to, but yeah, I'm interested to see how yours works and how mine works, and then we can kind of compare notes.
What's his or who is this person?
His name's Steve Kidd.
Okay.
He's based down in LA.
And what's his basic strategy?
He's going to do all of the setup work. So he's going to do all the keywords. He's going to do the descriptions. He does like a press release for you. I'm trying to remember all the stuff. We had a long talk, but it was a couple days ago. But yeah, a lot of the stuff he's talking about, it made sense to me. And then he has a network of people that are going to help push it up the list.
Okay. And he's got some that he's ranked in, not just bestseller, but highly ranked, because like bestseller, a lot of people make a business out of making books be Amazon bestseller. It's almost like Manny's got the hiccups.
I know. I'm sorry, guys.
It's all that Indian food.
Do you actually have the hiccups, or is it just?
I think he does.
Okay.
I do.
Sure.
Um,
Just
No,
hold your
he
breath.
just- so-
Hold your breath and count to 300, and then
Yeah, he just
you don't-
promises
you don't have hiccups
Amazon
in-
bestseller.
Take a
But-
shot of vinegar. Yeah, so just take a look and see where the book's actually ranked, because what a lot of people that again, I'm not saying, and I don't know the guy, so I'm just saying like
Right.
in general, because we did the research, and a lot of the people that help you sell your book on Amazon, what they do is they find a really specific niche and
Mhm.
small category, and they're like, okay, we got it to number 1, your bestseller, and it's like, yeah, but the book was ranked like 50,000 in Amazon. But yes,
Right.
but for knitting, like you're the best. You're number one. You can put that.
Actually, knitting is probably a huge category.
It's probably competitive.
Probably
like,
is.
Yeah.
get in fights with grandmas or like stab you with their knitting needles. But yeah, so just be careful and like know what he's going to do, because again, remember Josh and I hired a book, and it's not like the guy was bad. I mean, he's a smart guy, and he he knew what he was doing. It was just that what we quickly realized was that we knew more than he did about launching a book.
Right.
And
Right.
so
Well, and the other thing too, like, was just that he didn't have experience with our specific industry.
yeah.
And so I've been doing a lot of fishing lately, and I'll keep this really quick. But basically, so over in Europe, all the fish, because they've been fishing for sport for 500 years,
Mhm.
all the fish have been caught on average 4 times each.
What?
So they are
They're
so
smart.
they're really smart. So they have to use like the lightest possible line. They use these little tiny bobbers that have everything's like dollhouse miniature. The hooks are a size 24, which is like, I don't even know. It's like you'd sneeze and it would be gone. Like you'd blow it away.
That's why they're getting away. They're using wimpy hooks.
No, so they have to be like, everything has to be like really, really, really finessed in order for them to catch fish over there. And that is like our market. That's like software developers.
Yeah.
It's all the same techniques, but it's just scaled down, and so if you don't have that touch, like, and this guy he didn't quite get that. So
Right.
Guys, I'm just thinking about the fish, those poor fish with their traumatic life experience. Like, oh, damn, Jim, remember that time when I was swimming and I ate that worm and then got this fucking thing stabbed me in the cheek and I got pulled out of the water? Like,
Yeah, they're comparing
what
stars.
do you think about that? Do you think we should go for that worm or no? Like, it's like, no, not again. No. And then it's like by time 4, they're just like, oh
yeah,
fuck.
I'm just gonna fast. I'm just gonna fast from now on.
Yeah.
Live off my own body.
I don't have to eat. Makes sense. How's Bulldog Mindset going?
Good. It's
How's
I haven't been.
membership?
We're at like we're still around 150 members. I've got Marwan working on making an evergreen funnel for it.
Mhm.
So he's got his initial pitch. I want to go in there and write the emails, but I haven't had time because I need to get these other things done. And then really what I want to do is switch the focus over to working on simple programmer stuff as soon as I get all these other things off my plate. And then later I'll come back to Bulldog Mindset again. So I'm kind of giving Marwan the reins on it. And even though there's, it's lacking a little bit, but again, I'm paying him $1,000 a month for basically a full-time person. He's learning, he's kind of going to grow with it. So I'll have to just focus more on like giving him feedback and training to help him to make things better and better. But if we can get, one new member a day, because we have like 20 new email signups per day, 5% conversion rate, then that'll be good. That'll keep things going and growing there. And then that I don't have to worry about that so much. But yeah, and I think I need to reduce the membership content a little bit. I'm going to try and figure out, because right now what we're doing is like I do one training video per week, which is usually like 30 minutes to an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then we do one live Q&A per month, and then a book of the month, and then Marwan does a book summary for the book of the month, and then we usually have one exclusive interview that gets released to the membership before everything else. But I feel like some people that are unsubscribing, in fact, even some people that have contacted me for coaching, they're like, oh, I feel I'm unsubscribing because I'm not consuming all of the content. I haven't been able to consume all the content, so I'm not getting the value, and which is it's so stupid, because you're like, wait a minute, so you're getting too much value, like you can't even eat all the value, like you're like, oh, this food is no good because there's too much of it, like, so which
I went to Golden Corral and I couldn't eat all the steak, so I'm not going anymore.
Exactly. So but there's some sense to it as well. So eventually what I'll do is refine things, and I don't know, Marwan has this idea of basically me creating this content for a year, and then we'll have a year worth of content for the membership. And so I don't know, I'm kind of like, half of the stuff I'm just letting him run with because I just don't have the time to deal with it, and I'm focused on the other things. But yeah, so I'm trying to figure out the best way to, but like I said, I think what I really want to do is just, I need to get these other things, the book stuff, off of my plate, and then I want to jump into Simple Programmer and get our course created and get that going, and really like focus on revamping a lot of the stuff we have going, because I think if we can simplify things down like we talked about before, we can really boost it up. So one thing, Josh, before I forget, is we should talk to, I think I've got a coaching session with Gregory on Monday. Okay. But his course will do well, I think, especially with the timing is actually really good now. Depending on what happens with Bitcoin, all these idiots are fucking emailing me and telling me, oh, you did a video saying don't invest in Bitcoin, but look at me now, Bitcoin's at 12,000. And I'm like, you're basically, my response is like, it's basically like you went to Vegas and you bet on the roulette black, and then it came up black, and you're like, look what a fucking genius I am. I'm like, I'm like, congratulations, you picked a 50-50 chance correctly, because it could either go up or down. Good job. All right. You're like, so anyway, but people are going nuts about Bitcoin again. So I think if we can promote his course, and he's got a very high conversion rate on it, I think that one will do well. Yeah.
I think maybe we could do that this month, then in July.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So remind me what did he do again for his launch then? What was the
total take on it?
Well, like how did he structure it and everything?
So basically he did I basically told him to get the book launch, to get the Jeff Walker formula, and to basically follow that pretty much to the T, and then to give me the plan, and then I would help him modify like some bits of it. But the idea was like, if you follow this, you can't go wrong, right? It's like, it might not be optimal, but this is your first launch, so just do this. And like thousands of people have done this and been successful. So he basically did that. He did a lot of pre-launch content for about a month ahead of time, just talking about the course and talking about that he's excited about creating this course. And he actually got a bunch of people to sign up on an email list just exclusively for the course from his YouTube videos and from his newsletters. He like created another email list for the interest, so that, and it almost served the purpose of even people that were already on the list, because they now did the act of signing up to be for this thing. It's almost like a pre-commitment, like they're being, it's like that persuasion, like the influence, like the idea that they're going to be consistent with their previous action, right? So so he did a lot of that. And then the basic 7-day launch, where we did like a 3-video training series, like, and then a VSL at the end. I think he had a sales page as well, but I think mostly it was the VSL. I'll have to look. And then he had, I think over the 7-day period, either 14 or 15 emails. I made sure that I was like, send a lot of emails. And so he had a bunch of emails, and that was pretty much it. He had a little bit of a high refund rate, I think or somewhere around 5%, but his price is $500. He had a lot of his audience was from the East, right? So Asian, type of that were just like figured they could just refund the course. So he had a little bit of scammers in there, but and then I think what he did is he offered an upsell of like $1,500 coaching. It might have been like the total price was $1,500 to do a coaching session. And I think he got like 3 or 4 of those that he sold.
Okay. Cool. Well, so are you thinking for this, then we get people to sign up for his funnel?
I would say that in this case, it probably makes sense because his funnel is pretty good. And what we could do is I could interview him on the YouTube channel, on the Simple Programmer YouTube channel, and we could just create some content around that. And then we could also get him to create a blog post for Simple Programmer, which he needs to do anyway.
Right.
And the call to action to that could be to sign up for the launch of his course or something like that. And we could have those, something like that. But anyway, just to get them familiar with him. But yeah, I feel like it'd probably be better to have, if we can get them into his funnel. The only problem might be tracking if we try to get them into his funnel. Because how would that work? He's using MailChimp, I think.
Well, I mean, we could kind of, I don't know. Yeah, there's a few different ways we could do it. If we had an affiliate, if he can set up an affiliate link, then that should be pretty solid.
And just tag him in MailChimp.
Yeah,
when they come in there.
What's he using for his shopping cart?
Good question. What is he using?
He's using you're talking about
Gregory?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's on Thinkific.
Okay. Yeah,
I think his checkout is on there, is just part of the platform.
Okay.
Oh, you talked to him, Chuck?
Well, depend.
I signed up for his course.
Oh, okay. Okay, there you go. So, but yeah, I'm pretty sure Thinkific supports affiliate links.
Yeah,
it does if you have the pro plan.
Yeah.
The only problem is, so he'd have to create a separate email funnel for those people that, you know what I mean? Because when they go to the shopping cart page,
Yeah, I mean, he could just, yeah. All right. Well, we'll figure out. Yeah, we can figure out the details on that.
What we could do too is like, we could try and get that set up as best as we could, and then we could tag people that basically click a link to sign up for his funnel, and then so we would have our list of people we've tagged, and then we could compare it to the sales.
The problem is you only get about 60% or so email addresses matching up because people use other. It's pretty leaky.
Yeah.
I've compared like Kazi. I've compared a bunch of. I'll get these tracked email lists from our affiliates, and then I just throw them in just to see what we get and what the match rate is, and it's usually about 60-70%. So a bunch of them don't get. They use different email addresses or whatever.
Okay. Well, maybe it would be better. Maybe what we could do is get Gregory to give you all of his emails, and then you can build like a email sequence that would. Because the other thing I would say about it is that I was just thinking, like, I can't remember how his emails are structured, but his emails are going to be based on his audience knowing him and trusting him. I would assume so.
Right.
It might not do as well. It might be better if we take some kind of angle talking about why, from our perspective, why becoming a blockchain developer is good. But we could take, from his emails that are working.
If you guys
I
are,
think we could build something.
if you guys are doing, I mean, what's the price point you'll sell it at?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I'm gonna want a discount because now that he's launched it, like that was that $500 is the full price.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, he's got it listed on his website for $1,000.
Okay,
So
so if you buy it now, if you try to buy it, it's still a discount.
yeah,
500 would be okay. That could work.
yeah, either that or I mean, we could possibly see if 400 would be a better price point to offer. I'm pretty sure he'd be willing to drop it down to do that.
Well, 500 would be better because then anybody who's on our list that's also on his won't be mad. Like Chuck won't be feeling put out. Just
Yeah.
So it's fine. I
just so it's not a
negotiated
full-
a different deal with him, so
Oh, there
just
you
for me, not for affiliate.
But yeah, I don't know. We can talk the details. I'll mention it to him. I think I've got the call with him on Monday, and then after that I'll set him up to talk with you, and maybe we can just do a group call or something and
Okay.
figure it out. But yeah, I think he'll be.
Might be worth looking at webinars.
What, Manny?
Might be worth looking at webinars at that price point.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe some kind of educational webinar where we have Gregory on talking about blockchain and
The webinar we did with Kazi, so we drove 1,700 signups to that webinar, and we got 6 sales out of it. So basically, all the sales just came from the emails that I sent later.
well, but the webinar may have increased the sales rate on those emails, right? Some people.
Yeah, the webinars do the damage.
Except that the overall earnings and everything was basically identical to when I did it last time when it was just email. So
Yeah.
I don't.
And his
think-
course was 5 or
It was
yeah.
500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, yeah. We can come up with a plan.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that will be. I think that one will do well though.
Yeah, with the timing's good with Facebook.
Oh, he's
Now
killing
thing.
it, by the way, on Facebook ads. We don't have the complete details yet, but I told him to go ahead and run some ads and see what he can produce, and he's been getting leads for 75 cents.
Has he gotten? Are they converting yet?
He's got the last I heard. Let me see what his conversion rate was, or his cost per acquisition was. It was kind of ridiculous. Oh yeah, $31 was his costs per acquisition. Right now, he's only run a small amount of ads at this point, but $31 on a $500 course, pretty damn good. So we'll see what happens here, but if he can even do $200 per lead, it'll be just insane. So, but yeah, so he's looking good with that. I mean, it's nice too because he has a very specific thing, so it's easy to target in Facebook, right?
Yeah.
To become a blockchain developer, and the price point's high. So,
is he just running straight up like buy my thing ads, or I guess they're opt-ins? He's getting opt-ins, so he's doing the lead magnet thing.
Yeah, I'll have to look at what his funnel is. I think he's putting them. Oh, because I don't remember what we did. So we've set up an evergreen funnel. So basically, I told him take your the launch emails, modify them so that they make sense to be within a time frame, right? But basically use the same ones, because he's like, oh, should I create a new funnel? I was like, no, let's just do what's working. And then, so that's what he's doing, is he's dropping them in. He's running like a Facebook video, and then they're dropping into the email sequence for the course. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I'll talk to him on Monday, and I'll see what his actual results are from Facebook. But it looks good, which is good. It's promising, because if he can get those kind of results, then there's hope. But the price point, I think, makes a big difference too. So
yeah. Cool.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, Kazi says he's doing good on them. But the only problem with like Gregory's thing is completely cold traffic. So
right. Well, I'm skeptical. You'll have to see how that plays out, because he might, if he just did a big launch with the numbers that you're describing, to me, I'm wondering if there's not a bunch of carryover from the launch, where he's still picking up people are seeing his ad on Facebook, and then they're buying via the launch emails, if that makes sense. Like, because there's a pretty good, unless he has like a hard cutoff somehow where there's no way that those people could buy, the launch sales will usually continue for several weeks. Like, we'll get, every time we do an interview cake promotion, we'll get sales for like a month.
Yeah.
Or like 2 months after that.
Exactly. Well, we'll have to see. I thought he cut off the page, because I thought he bumped it up to $1,000. I think that's what we had talked about doing. So I'm not sure.
So they're new opt-ins. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it'll take some time to figure out how it's working, but it looks like at least some way, this should be working. So.
I should do an affiliate / pitch with him too, especially since we're launching a blockchain show with him on it.
Yep.
We could definitely tie the two together for social proof. And encourage people to go. If you're interested in blockchain development, right, you can go. If you're already doing it, go listen to the podcast, and if you're not, go sign up for the course and then listen to the podcast. We found a great way for you to come up to speed real quick. So, yeah, I like it though. Oh man. So this week I did a couple of things. I updated my 12-week year because it hasn't started yet. It starts on the 30th. I showed it to a few other folks, and they said, aren't you supposed to have like weekly things that you're getting done? And I was like, oh yeah. So I now have specific tasks for each week. So it wasn't just work on it for 8 hours or things like that. It was actually, put this feature into Podwrench, or do this particular topic, or things like that to get things together. So I've basically got a whole bunch of stuff together now. Just, I know which things I'm going to do for SEO for the website. I know which things I'm going to do to start new shows. I know which, and then I have the days all lined up and ironed out so that it's like, okay, these weeks I'm going to focus on these things. So I got that figured out. And then I reached out to 35 companies this week about sponsorship.
Nice.
So, and I'm probably going to hit a bunch more today. around getting my arm x-rayed. That's pretty much a summary of my week. Watching lots of World Cup soccer, Women's World Cup. I just turn it on and then I start going and looking for leads. So, and the open source sustainability show kind of fixed itself. So I showed up this morning and said, "Do you need me?" And they said no. And so I left and went for a run, which was nice. The DevOps show is kind of shaping up. So I don't necessarily need to be on that one every week. I'll probably be on the next 2 or 3 anyway, just because I invited those guests myself and I want to make sure that those go well. And then, yeah, the blockchain show, I need to go out and get them some guests. And the React Native show is the one that I'm really working on because I already have sponsors for it and they haven't been releasing regularly. So I think we've got episodes lined up starting next week, though, so we should be in good shape.
Nice.
And
I guess it's good that the open source software podcast sort of self-organized and was able to sustain itself through releases.
Well, one thing that I figured out with a lot of these shows is if you can get guests on a regular basis, a lot of the rest of it solves itself because the hosts really do want to show up. So, yeah, so I'm just, Michelle and I are just working like crazy people to get those lined up. I also added a second time slot for JavaScript Jabber. So on Tuesdays now I record one JavaScript Jabber and then I record the other JavaScript Jabber.
Nice.
And yeah, we'll get that rolling. In fact, John, I think last week we talked about getting you on for marketing yourself or how to learn anything quickly. So there's the link to schedule the episode. If you want to pick one, and then if you want to pick another one like a month or 2 later.
Okay. Yeah. What we should do is,
and then we can do the email campaigns and stuff.
Yeah, we can do one for like 10 steps probably, or how to market yourself. Either one of those for now. And then what I'd really like to do, well, it'll still be not till like probably December or so, is when Soft Skills 2nd edition comes out, is to do a big push on like, across a lot of different podcasts. I'm going to be doing a big marketing push. But,
yeah, that would be awesome.
But yeah, let's do the like 10 steps. What do you think, Josh, would be better to promote right now? 10 steps or how to market yourself for the JavaScript app?
Well, if we're going to be doing the campaign with Kazi, it might be better to do how to market yourself, just so we don't have so much
overlap.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah, we can do that.
You should make sure you treat the podcast as a sales mechanism itself rather than worry about the email campaign, because the podcast will actually drive more sales for Chuck than the emails will.
Yeah, I need to get the show notes to basically be a landing page, and then use the emails to just drive people back to that.
Yeah, from our
experience, I think is the way to go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You'll do the emails to drive people to their sales page, but at least the show notes page should just be a pitch for the product.
Yeah,
but we have to get people. So
and in the podcast, when you go on the podcast, when you go live on the podcast, make sure you already have your link, your identified link, and the discount code built in. You already remember those, so when you say them, people will literally punch those in and go and buy the.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's
with
like
their discount codes or whatever you give them as the special code.
Right. What should the call to action be from the podcast? So you're saying, and that's what I was thinking, is like just make a call to action directly from the podcast to say, go here to buy it. Here's the link, and then here's the discount code.
Or here's a link for the discounted price.
Yep, exactly.
Point. Yeah. devchat.com/simple or something like that. So it's really easy to remember, and no discount coupons or anything like that, because we got fucked because of that shit.
Yeah, we would have sold a ton
probably left
more.
a few $1,000s on the table because of that.
I like dollars. I
literally had people emailing me saying it didn't work.
Yeah,
the links were not working. We blew it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's once you get that, that's the worst thing. Because like, if 100 people email you and say the links aren't working, that means that like 500 people didn't email you, and of the 100 people, like only like 10 of them will actually try again.
Right.
Yeah. If one person emailed, that means you lost like 30 sales or 50 sales or something like that. Like that's how just bad it feels.
Yeah.
Did anyone get the time to read the book?
Which book?
The Business, Not a Job.
No, I didn't.
Good book.
You want to do a summary for us, maybe?
Nice.
No. That's your job, man.
I know. That's why I don't want to do it and like spoil you guys and I don't want to deprive you of the joy of reading that one. It's such a good book. All right, I'll give a quick summary. I mean, he's literally saying how you can go about I guess a lot of our businesses are designed to be a job kind of a business. They're not really businesses unless we start with that goal in mind, and then we start to put people in place, or not even put people, but processes and systems initially, constantly modifying and improving them and constantly thinking through them, constantly becoming very process and systems oriented rather than the experts who runs the show, and thinking in terms of, okay, what is the process, what is the system that can create value in this business, and figuring out how to do that. I was just reading E-Myth. I was just reading Awaken the Entrepreneur or something, The Entrepreneur Awakening on E-Myth, and I saw him, like, as I was reading the book, I felt like he was going so much into, he already knew the business, and then he was like, okay, this is the business I'm going to start, these are the principles and these are the values and this is the mission and this is blah blah blah. And I'm like, you don't even know what the freaking business is going to be like once it hits the road, once the rubber hits the road, and once you actually talk to the clients and talk to the customers and talk to the potential partners and all those things. All of that analysis you've already done is going to go to waste because you have certain notion of what you think the business is going to be, and then the business meets the real world, and suddenly the business is very different from what you had thought it would be. So partly, like, this book is more about, okay, this is what your business is today, and now let's start to, constantly be thinking about, okay, well, start with the goal of building a business and not a job, and now what do we need to do to fine-tune everything to make it a business, not a job.
So it sounds like so E-Myth is about how to build the perfect business from day one, and this is more like, okay, how do you retrofit your actual real
I don't think the idea of building a perfect business actually exists. I think that's a lie.
Well, but
I think that's stupid.
But I mean, E-Myth, are you saying that's the E-Myth view of it, is like you start and you do this perfectly from day one? Is that what you're saying? I
wouldn't say that, because if you've read E-Myth, he starts out with the lady that owns the pie shop and she does everything. And so she's kind of already in that boat where she's created herself this job, and it's a big one. And so, then you hire the manager and you hire the people and train them to do the job so that you can be the entrepreneur. And so it sounds like this is kind of in the same vein.
Yeah, you can say that. But more on systems and process thinking rather than just like, this is the manager, blah, blah, blah.
So the roles.
But yeah, systems and process thinking is probably what's more important in the way they're describing it, and also being very clear. on the fact that you are going to build a business, not a job. I think that's the key distinction, that most businesses never start with that distinction, right? Most businesses start with I'm just doing business, rather than like, no, we're actually building a business, not a job. And constantly being aware of that and constantly putting that through, constantly building business around that thought process rather than letting it become a job every single time. But I feel like eMyth was designed, or the book, as you said, Chuck, like the lady had a bad business and now he was helping her put together the business properly.
Yeah.
Well, partly eMyth's analysis is that you can literally kind of build a business like that from day one, a McDonald's from day one. But I think that's a lie, especially if you're starting a business. You're not going to build a McDonald's from day one. You're going to initially build one restaurant that's really good, and then you're going to start outsourcing or start delegating or doing all of those things. Like,
Right.
I don't think entrepreneurship is done just sitting around in your office and dreaming up all the different, like, oh, these are the processes and systems, let's just put them into place. That's
it sounds
that's
a little
total
bit
bullshit.
to me like
you really
like
have
the
to
idea.
go.
It sounds a little bit to me like the idea of doing 100% test coverage, test-driven development on a greenfield project, right? Like, or like, where you're doing rapid prototyping and throwing out, like, every 4 days you throw out everything you did. And that's kind of what the early stages of the business are like.
Right, the early stage of business are very unpredictable, and you have no clue what process or system is actually useful or will work. So there's no use creating processes and systems at that stage of the business. There's no use trying to come up with like, oh, this is how I will do all of these things in the business, unless you're basically taking over a franchise. All of that model doesn't really work. That's not how business.
Or are you doing a second business where you've already done a business and now you're like of a similar vein, right?
But if it's in the same field, maybe.
Not in the
if
same
it's in
field.
Another field, another.
Yeah.
Huh?
Not in the same field, but like, I mean, consider like the coaching that I do now for, like, let's say take Gregory, because he's a good example of success. Like, I knew everything to tell him what to do, how to create the systems and processes for him to be successful from the very beginning. Didn't have to do much experimentation. It was like, okay, just do this. If you just follow this plan, you'll be fine and you'll make money. And that's what we did. Because
fields.
Well, no, it's not the field. It's the model. It's the business model is the same, right?
Well, yeah. What I meant
was the model
like
of
online...
creating an audience. Yeah, using YouTube to create an audience to launch a course and sell it. So
yeah. It's a business type. I shouldn't have said field, but type. Like if you're creating a business type, if you created one business where you know how to build an audience and sell courses, you can do that again and again and again. And once you've done it, you can create processes and systems to do that. But you can't just go in tomorrow and say, I'm going to buy a franchise and I'm going to start doing that the same way.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to get yourself in a lot of trouble and a lot of pain because you're drafting up shit that you don't even know.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. All right. I guess we should probably do our thoughts.
I think the eMyth and Lean Startup kind of. Yeah.
What were you saying about eMyth?
eMyth and Lean Startup kind of, at some point they converge, but I think eMyth leaves a lot of the early stages of business, building a business kind of out in some ways.
Did you
read
Clockwork?
What happened?
Have you read Clockwork?
No, not yet.
Oh, you'll love that one then.
It's a good one.
No, not yet.
It's the most comprehensive one, I think. Like that, like eMyth Revisited is sort of like, it's the why you should do this and some basic structure of how to do it. But Clockwork is like, this is exactly how to do it. So to make it so that your business is that you're not in the business, right? It's like, obviously And yeah, I would say that it's the best one. So
okay, so I'm gonna take a look at that. And the guys who wrote the book, Build a Business, Not a Job, they actually run this mastermind called the Maui Mastermind, which is all about like helping entrepreneurs scale and exit their businesses.
Okay.
This is what they've been coaching. Like they've basically literally, these guys, the guys behind this, have created multiple, 8 and 9 figure businesses, and now they're like, okay, well, this is the formula for building and scaling and selling your business.
Yeah. Okay. My business club.
Yeah, definitely worth taking a look. The book
I'll
is
have to check
legit.
it out. Yeah.
They're, huh?
I was gonna say it sounds like something I need to check out.
Yeah, the guys who are running it are legit because they've built multiple businesses and sold multiple businesses, so they aren't just fucking around. And I'm gonna be listening to their podcast now, I guess. Their podcast, Scale Your Business Radio podcast.
Cool.
All right, I like it.
I love podcasts.
All right, should
More
we do
podcasts to listen to.
our thoughts for the day?
Yeah, we already lost Josh.
Yeah, Josh disappeared. He's never giving his thoughts.
Poor Josh.
I guess I'll go first. Mine is actually, I was reading Seneca's on the shortness of life, and that impacted me because basically the whole book is about the idea that, and it's a short book, it's worthwhile reading. In fact, I'm going to build a system around like reading the book, like focusing on it like every day into like a routine, because the whole concept of the entire book is basically that you have, like, your life isn't short. You have enough time. Life is not short. It's plenty time, but most people never actually live their life. They never actually maximize it. It's just that you waste so much of your life, and so much of it is wasted. And so the whole idea of the book is just focusing on the idea that how are you wasting your life? Like every moment that you're wasting, like you have more than enough time to do whatever you want in life and to live life fully, but you're wasting so many hours and so many days and so many, so much of it. And so what I was thinking about when I read that, and what kind of motivated me to start focusing on getting the 10 Pomodoro done every day, is I was thinking about, like, just again, like social media and like stuff that I'm essentially wasting my life. Like it's time that I'm not going to get back. And then I was thinking about also just the idea of when I was doing work before, I'd be trying to get through the work, right? So you fall into that trap where you're like, okay, like let's say I'm editing a book chapter. I'm like, I don't really want to do this, so let me just get this shit done. I'll work on it for 25 minutes. And I realized that is a waste as well. So instead, I kind of changed my mindset, and I, thinking of it that way, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this task, right? Because he said also in there, it's not necessarily what you do, but how you do it. And I think that was really the big point for me. It was not what you do, but how you do it, because I'm not going to change what I'm going to do, because I'm still going to edit this book. I mean, I think a lot of people are like, oh, you should only do the things that you enjoy doing in life. And I think that's a load of shit, because I need to do those chapters. I need to do, but how I do it, I can affect and I can change. So instead of dreading writing this chapter or revising or, whatever the work I'm doing, I can put myself 100% into it and figure out how I can enjoy the moment of doing that work. And then my day of like doing 10 Pomodoro, instead of it being like, oh, I got 10 Pomodoro done and I'm done, and now I can enjoy myself. It's like, no, the actual doing of the 10 Pomodoro was fun and enjoyable as well, because I shifted how I'm doing it, just my approach to it. It's I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe, but when you start thinking in those terms of that, you're either going to like make the most of this moment and enjoy the work you're doing, or you're going to waste your time in your life.
Mhm.
When you have that choice, it becomes easier to make the right choice. So everything has not only have I been more productive this week, like with that mindset, but I've been more focused, and it's been more enjoyable to do it, where I'm actually excited to do the work as opposed to dreading doing the work, which so that's basically my thought.
Nice. My thought is make sure that ladder.
So instead of saying I have to, you're saying I choose to.
That's pretty much what it comes down to. And even like, again, I think there's one more step to it, which is like, it's not just choosing to, but it's how you're doing it, because you know that you're choosing it, but like the attitude at which you're choosing to work, like that you're actually saying, because everything that you're doing, like you can find a way to enjoy what you're doing, right? It doesn't really matter what it is. It's the spirit that you bring to the work, and then your work is better.
Nice. Yeah, my thought is make sure that the ladder is on solid stuff before you try and get off the roof.
Yeah.
No, it really is. This week has really been just about getting back into the groove and back into the right mindset. And I mean, falling off a roof and feeling like you probably busted or cracked a couple ribs and you messed up your arm. I mean, that's no fun. And I took a few days, of downtime and just rested so I could recover, because that's important. But you can't let that stuff derail you. And in the past, I really would have. But it's just it's not worth it, So now I'm back at it, and I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep trucking along because there are things that I want. I mean, this 75 hard challenge that I'm doing, it's it's a mental toughness challenge. It's basically beat yourself down, and build yourself up in different ways, and but it's, to me, it's to prove that I can do it. And so even though I was hurt, I was like, you know what, I want to prove that I can do this. So, I'm out and I'm doing it. And yeah, it's you can't give up on things just because it gets hard or because it hurts or because it's not what it's not easy because it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Because eventually it'll pay off. And so my thought really is just pick yourself up off the ground, in this case literally. Figure out what's wrong and then get back on the horse and get back to it.
I like it. Yeah, I agree.
Nice. My thought is to constantly think about building a business, not a job, and starting that as a goal for your business so that you never really get surprised down the line when you build a job for yourself and you're like, oh shit, now I just have a glorified job, which is better paying than what I had, but that's a job I have, rather than becoming hyper aware that you are building a business. I mean, a lot of people will say today that, oh, I just want to do this because I enjoy doing it. But at some point, you probably will run out of passion. You probably will run out of steam for that thing. You will probably you will probably not enjoy it as much as you enjoy it today.
Yeah.
At some point, you will have to make the decision to cut it. At some point, you will have to make the decision to move on from it. So having the end, like beginning with the end in mind, is a really good strategy on building your business. So constantly thinking about, okay, am I building a business? Am I building a job? And how can I constantly remove myself in different ways using processes, systems, and people, so that I'm, thinking about that as an important goal. And there's never a bad time. Like, it's never a wrong time to start thinking about that. Even if today you're doing everything, just the idea, planting that idea and starting with that idea is the starting point of it all. Becoming aware that I want to do that, rather than thinking I'm just going to do this because this is just sounds like a good job, good thing to do for the business or as a business. So
right.
Yep.
Intention.
Yeah. Intentionality. Lots of intentionality.
All right, guys. Well,
All
I guess that's it. We'll see you guys next week. You're back
Yeah, man.
when? 2 weeks from now? Are you back next week?
2 weeks from now. Yeah.
I've got
Alright.
family
No,
stuff
2 weeks from
on
now.
a week from Friday, so I don't know if I'll make it or not.
Okay. All right, guys.
Right.
I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Enjoy the 4th.